worldwide leader in sports, presents third-round coverage of the RCA Championships. Welcome to Indianapolis, where the talk of the town is not the speed of Indy cars, but Sampras' serve. Fans can receive a blistering serve from Sampras or enjoy a toasted pretzel. It's a tennis fan's dream at the tournament, voted #1 by the players. Today, our feature match, #1 in the world, Pete Sampras takes on Sweden's Magnus Larsson. Look at Pete Sampras, the top player in the world. He is walking very confidently, isn't he? He's talking confidently as well. #1 in the world, and he is looking, of course, to the US Open, and that would be his 11th Grand Slam if he can do it. That takes place later this month. Hi, everybody. Cliff Drysdale alongside the fiery one, Fred Stolle. Beautiful day. Weather is warm, but not too hot. And that, Fred, I think it's good news for Pete Sampras, don't you?
It is certainly good news for Pete Sampras, Cliff. He's got his schedule going this year, pretty much the same as last year. Since Wimbledon, he hasn't played a lot of tennis. He's come into Cincinnati. The weather was kind to him there, not too hot. He's come down here. The preparation is great so far. The weather, though, today, well, maybe it's getting a little hot.
Now, what about the serve of Sampras, Fred? Is this the most dominant shot in tennis?
Oh, everybody's got to be saying that around the place, Cliff. 5 serves he's lost since the start of Wimbledon. He can't even believe that. Goes into Cincinnati, I think he lost 2 there, and comes here. And it's not only the serve now, though, but we're talking about his forehand as well.
So he hasn't lost a match in a long time. 13 straight matches, as a matter of fact. Fred, let's talk about his forehand. I know you like it a lot. We used to talk a lot about the running forehand of Sampras. I think everybody knows that. But it's a pretty heavy weapon under just about any circumstance now.
Well, Agassi and Courier were the ones that started off with that short forehand. You served and you didn't go into the net, and then you hit that one for a winner. Well, Pete still serves and volleys, but now with that short forehand, he used to make some unforced errors on that side. But boy, in Cincinnati, he cleaned those lines with that forehand. The best I've ever seen it done.
Fred, the truth is he really doesn't have too many weaknesses in his game. Let's talk about Magnus Larsson, though. Let's talk about the strength. As I recall them, Fred, the serve is a very big part of his game, and then he's got a tremendous forehand as well.
He also has a big forehand and a big serve, and he's going to need both of them here today. Magnus Larsson, well, you never know with Magnus how he's going to compete. He's got a big forehand. He has had some problems, though, with ankle injuries. He's coming back from that, but he's a free spirit and a dangerous player.
And a few years ago, he actually broke a foot, Fred. Well, that was a look that you saw there at Magnus Larsson. Let me tell you, as you saw again, that Magnus Larsson, the last time these two played against each other in Monte Carlo, it was Larsson who beat Sampras. He has beaten him twice in 8 outings. So in Larsson's mind, it is by no means over. Well, we'll take a break, and when we come back, you can watch live coverage, the RCA Championships. Top player in the world, Pete Sampras and Magnus Larsson of Sweden. There is only one bigger celebrity, non-playing celebrity than Fred Stolle around these grounds, and it's this man here, Nipper the dog. They love him. They
do.
Line up to see him and pet him. And
hey, there's a contest on out in one of the Mercedes cars. They don't have Nipper. There's a lot of little chippers in there, and there's a lot of those, and you got to guess, instead of putting tennis balls in there, how many tennis balls, you guess how many chippers are in there, yeah.
That is
you win a chipper and a nipper, yeah.
Magnus Larsson, it's 2-3. This shot is, I mean, it's a big swing, this Fred.
Look at the huge loop that he takes up there, and then the transference of the weight, and he rotates the shoulders through. Heavy ball, as they call it.
The Swede thought that the American was going down the line, and Sampras went back to court. Nicely done.
There's a lot of finesse here because he reads the volley from Sampras and then plays this little angle, looks for the one down the line. He had that one covered. Watch Sampras, though. What's the flick of the wrist here? Gets behind it, flicks it back cross-court, just snaps the wrist right at the right time to get it back in front of it.
Thank you.
Well, that was interesting. Sampras there attempted a chip and charge, took 4 steps forward, realised it was just floating up in the air, and then tried to get back to the baseline, but it was too late.
Larsson told me before the match that he's going to have to do a couple of things. Serve well, obviously. Try to get the serve back, but he said in the main he's going to try to keep the ground strokes deep and keep Sampras from the net. So far in the main, other than the beginning of the match when he served was pretty dodgy, he's been able to do that.
Well, the rhythm on the serve is there now. He's doing well on the serve. He's around about 30 in his first service game. He lost a couple of points since then.
You need to keep Sampras away from the net. He's won 9 of 11 he's come in. Larsson has only been in twice. Let's take a look at the draw. Ferreira is through. He took out Grant Stafford in an all-South African affair. Moyer took out Fromberg. We've mentioned that to you already. Enquist and Novak have yet to play. Sampras and Larsson playing for the right to play against Ferreira. Then you've got Rios and Woodford, Agassi, Korecha. They'll play tonight. Woodbridge and Bjorkman. Tommy Ho beats Stoltenberg.
Good win for Tommy Ho. Stoltenberg yesterday took out Goran Ivanisevic.
Actually, Ho was a qualifier. He's been injured some, and you haven't seen a heck of a lot from him, but this is a good result for him, the final 8 places in a major championship.
Very talented junior, Tommy Ho. Good lefty. Doubles with New Zealand's Brett Stevens. They were a tough doubles team before Ho was injured.
15-all.
This is what I was talking about earlier, just getting that serve back. This is a low one. Sampras has time to wind up on the forehand, went cross-court with it. Now, that's the shot last week he was hitting for winners.
That he took the 2 hands off it and he put it up in the air. It was an easy overhead.
30.
This very defensive stuff.
Good. Look at that. Gets back. Turn sideways to the net as you go back. Scissor steps back. Rack it up early. And then keep the head up as you make contact with the ball. That's a very good play on this surface. That kicks there to the 2-hander that Sampras employed there, because the ball gets way up around shoulder height. And it's tough to really drill it and get it down low. Sampras was presented with pretty easy backhand volley up around shoulders, around the shoulders.
Game point, Sampras. Sampras holds on. There have been no breaks to serve. Larsson has been in trouble on serve, but has lost. Sampras hasn't even been in trouble. 3-4 first set. A warm welcome back, everybody. Cliff Drysdale, Fred Stolley. You are watching your 3rd hour of tennis coverage this afternoon, starting with a couple of hours from the Pilot Pen. This is the RCA Championships in Indianapolis. And you're watching Pete Sampras, #1 player in the world, trying to win his 3rd straight title. He's taking on Magnus Larsson. He leads on serve in the first set. No breaks yet. It is 3-4, Larsson to serve. This is for a place in the last 8 of this tournament.
15 left.
Magnus Larsson lost in the opening round, the first round last week in the Mercedes Super 9 there.
3rd ace.
30 left.
30 love. If you are talking about hours of coverage, tennis coverage on ESPN, tonight on ESPN2, Medvedev and Rafter. Be a good one. 7:30.
40 left.
40 left.
We mentioned it's a very deceptive serve. He throws it up, and with the pronation at the wrist and the top of the swing, that's where he creates the angles. And it's a tough one to read.
Game, Larsson.
Another one.
4 games left.
Little League World Series coming up on ESPN2, 7:30 p.m. tonight. Teams qualify for the World Series by winning their regional tournaments. They have a bunch of them around the U.S., and then they've got Europe, Canada, the Far East, and Latin America. Little League World Series tonight.
15 left.
Not a lot happening in this match at the moment. Sampras at 75% first serve. That's terrific. Larsson not bad either at 60%. Winners 11-9. Unforced errors. Well, you know that the match is a good one when there's more winners than unforced errors. But there has not been a lot of rallies. There's not been one game that has gone to deuce as yet. There's the kick serve from Sampras that he employs, throws it over the left shoulder just a fraction more and snaps the wrist up to it. I think he might have changed his mind on that volley. Sort of tried to, instead of hitting it, tried to play the little short one again.
30.
Point Sampras.
Neither player had any trouble with his serve so far in the match. Larsson, his opening service game, when the rhythm was not there, served a double fault in his second point to be down love 30. But he's only lost 2 points on serve since then. Sampras only lost 5 points on serve, so it's very much been serve-dominated first set.
5 games to 4 in the first set. Pete Sampras over Magnus Larsson. He's the number 16 seed here. We'll be back with more live coverage from Indianapolis in a minute. Sampras over Larsson, 5 games to 4. No breaks of serve. Larsson to serve, and he hasn't had much trouble holding serve here lately. Started out pretty poorly. Take a look at this record of Pete Sampras's. His hard court record is astounding, 285.59. Clay court is not that good. He's never won the French championships. He has won the Italian. His grass court record is unparalleled, and on carpet he is also very strong.
And he's been strong for a while. Number 1 in the world for the 5th year. Doesn't matter if he loses the US Open because he's so far ahead in the point standings that he can't be caught.
15.
Just missed.
Quick correction, everyone. The Medvedev Rafter match tonight on ESPN2 will be on at 9:30 Eastern Time. 9:30. The best of all time.
Wasn't always that way. He worked a lot on it. Watch the head here. There's no movement of the head. Look, it stays there, stays solid right throughout that shot. Stay down and don't lift up. The racket goes through brilliantly.
30-15, and Larsson also said to me this morning, I'm going to have to put some pressure on the forehand side of Sampras's. I'm not going to try to attack it by any means, but you've got to hit a few there to keep Sampras honest. That's what he did. Another one. There is 7 aces.
You wouldn't think that towards the end of the set, Larsson would have 7 aces and Sampras, what, 2?
Two doubles.
Two aces.
Fred, the sun is in a bad spot there for him, isn't it? That may be some explanation for it. He's had difficulty on the side. Now it's deuce. It's right up there where he throws the ball to something. gimme.
Sampras.
And set point.
It was an interesting game, this one, because you served 2 aces, so you thought the rhythm was there, but as you pointed out, that sun, it's very tough to look directly in that sun. You've got to try and change that ball toss a little bit. Sampras not happy with that call. Check the mark.
There's this position of the sun, and here is where Larsson is serving from. So it's right up there where he's throwing the ball. Larsson's dad worked for Volvo, which if it's not the biggest company in Sweden, is certainly one of the top 2 or 3. And ace for Larsson. He says his dad likes to come and watch Davis Cup matches. Doesn't spend a lot of other times on the tour. That is 8 aces now for Larsson. Watch this.
A very deceptive motion. You can't figure. You see Sampras looking and moving towards the backhand to the one down the tee.
Yeah, he's trying to hand his racket off to one of the ball kids. I've never seen a guy who has less control when he loses confidence on the second serve than this. It's like he has no idea what he's doing. Astounding. How many is that now in double faults? 4? 5. 5 right there. I mean, this is ace, double fault. Yeah. 4 double faults and 4 aces in this game alone. That is long, and Larsson holds on. What a way to do it, though.
5 games.
Saved himself a set point there. There is Larsson's ranking by year, 56, pretty consistent, and he goes up, and 94 was a very good year for him. 95, I'm surprised he was 17. 96, he was hurt. And then he's, at this stage, number 37 in the world. So very consistently a top 50 player.
The last game was incredible. They had 11 points in that game, and Sampras touched the ball 4 times. Aces and double faults for the rest. That's sort of an aggressive forehand from the middle of the court,
which is not a high percentage play, but he has got so much confidence in the forehand. Look.
And he's a tall boy, too. Talking to Sampras just prior to the match, he talked about his preparation and what he was going through. He said the only problem that he has is mentally being strong enough to get through and keep winning, and it's starting to show a little bit here. He's down to love 30. He's been so good since Wimbledon. Lost his serve only 5 times since the start of Wimbledon, but it's concentration that's needed to really go through and keep on winning tournaments.
And it was a great chance.
Second serve to the forehand, and it's not a deep one. A good swing there from Larsson, but boy, that one did hit the back.
15-30.
That's good move. Plays in well, didn't he? Yep. And it was a smart play there from Larsson. He didn't try to overplay. He played the little chip, took the pace off this one. And look what Sampras has to do, though, to win this. Charges in there, gets the ball above the net. That's the secret, because if it gets below the net, it becomes a lot more difficult to make that volley.
30-all. Now game point for Sampras. Larsson beat Sampras in the final of the Grand Slam Cup. And if you know what the Grand Slam, if you don't know, let me tell you what it is. $1.5 million to win that tournament alone. He beat him in the final. Sampras took home $750. Then, because he had won 2 Grand Slams that year, took him another $500.
They'll get a bonus for each Grand Slam title that they win of $250,000.
Sampras ahead, 6-5 on serve. Larsson to serve with the sun behind him. Terrific against Cedric Pierre-Lin in the Wimbledon final this year. He served magnificently all tournament long, and he also served twice. He takes out Pierre-Lin 6-4, 6-2, 6-4, and kisses the cup. That was his 10th Grand Slam win. There are the numbers. Roy Emerson has 12. Borg has 11. He won 5 at Wimbledon in a row. Lord Laver has 11. Sampras at 10, and Bill Tilden at 10 or so. I always have a problem with those because they don't go back far enough, and there were so many years of professional play.
You can always debate those. Roy Emerson has been here doing some clinics with folks at the tournament, and on the hospitality where we go around in the evening and talk about that, he's talked about Sampras. He honestly feels that Sampras will surpass his 12 singles titles.
In fact, he has no doubt about it. Sampras, remember, only turned Sampras has only turned 26 on Tuesday. It says a long time to go.
That's exactly what Emma said.
I have no trouble stealing.
No, I know. You take anybody's lines.
Ad-libs.
Just not quite getting that. He's opening the face of the racket a fraction too much, and that causes the ball to fly on a very warm day. It's 40 love.
Game Larsson.
Larsson with the ace. That is 10 aces
6
now
games
for the
all.
Swede.
Tiebreak.
6 games all. A tiebreak will decide the first set. Sampras obviously has got an outstanding tiebreak record in overall. This year, though, he is only at 50%. That's why.
1-0 Larsson.
First point to Larsson.
Not so many rallies in this, but a lot of winners being hit as opposed to unforced errors. There's been more winners than unforced errors from both players, both going for their shots. That's the shot that was really working last week for him in Cincinnati. Paul Annacone, his coach, got to be a little bit worried there now. Oh boy, what a forehand.
3 points to Larsson.
3-0.
Terrific serve from Larsson, and the return just on the line. What's this? This turns around right on the line, that return from Sampras, and this one whistles right on the line back this other end. 3-zip.
Sampras is on the board in the tiebreak. It's 1-3.
3-1 Larsson.
Two in a row for Sampras. It's going to be Larsson to serve, leading 3-2.
3-2.
You mentioned the heat being in Sampras's favour last week. It's very warm out there now. The sun shining very brightly, and Sampras needs to try and wrap this first set up. Otherwise, he's looking at a 3-setter if he's to get to the next round.
Is not working for him. That time he wasn't even trying to come into the net behind it. The players will change ends. 4-2 Larsson leading. Fred, I just want to make this point as we've been watching this first set. There have been a lot of backcourt rallies because, you know, there was a time when I really personally felt that we should try and blunt the power of the server down somewhat. But on a court like this, I've really changed my mind. This is the first time I said, I'm going to say it many more times. We are seeing a lot of rallies. It's interesting the way that these guys play these days. We don't need to change the rules. Messing with the
I think we saw a lot of rallies in Montreal and Cincinnati.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen too many long rallies of this one.
But you know, when you compare it with a Newton Smith at Wimbledon, there weren't many rallies in that one either. Watch this again.
Topspin backhand cross court, catches him on the half volley. That's a very tough shot to play. Takes a lot of finesse.
So we're back on serve in the tiebreak. Good stretch on the first volley, but it's going into the forehand side of Larsson. He eats those things for lunch.
Well, you only got to take one step. This is a good return on the first one. Watch where Sampras goes now. Look, he's on the singles line there. He's got to prop and try and get back. He hesitates, and Larsson just put that one back in a hurry. 2 steps, and he was there.
5-4, Larsson. Is the ball down?
Larsson goes for the big forehand here out wide. This is a big strike for him. If he made that one, it would have been a few set points. It was worth the crack.
5-4 Larsson. He's 2 points from the tiebreak and the set. Set point for Larsson. 11 aces.
11 aces to Sampras' 3. Very deceptive motion, the serve.
Really came in, Fred, and that's how it worked.
Yep. And
6-5.
Larsson had plenty of time to set himself for that two-hander, but watch what happens. Here's the chip and charge. It's a little bit better. Larson's got to take 2 or 3 steps over that. He lifts up right at the very last moment, and that's what pushed that one long. So
still set point. You know, that one I'm going to say, honestly, I think he choked on it because it was it got up high, admittedly, but that one he just didn't swing at it.
Well, no, he didn't get the head of the racket through, did he? But that's where, when you repeat Sampras, watch this one again. Look how far he gets behind the ball. It's way behind him. He wasn't through with the racket head at all on that one. And that's when Pete Sampras has a little bit of an edge. He's the #1 player in the world, and hey, he hasn't lost a match since Wimbledon. Hasn't lost his serve. He's lost 5 service games since Wimbledon, and suddenly you've got him down in the tiebreaker. You're apt to gag a little bit.
Now it's 6 points all. Here's another set point from Larsson on his serve. I can see yesterday down 7 set points.
There was a very short second serve from Sampras, and the first return was deep into the corner. Sampras could only half volley it back half court, and then the big winner from Larsson came in.
Set point.
Left.
for Larsson.
7 games to 6.
Running forehand from Sampras, but Larsson was outstanding and anticipating where he was going for it, and Larsson has won the first set over the... Larsson has won the first set. Sort of ambles around, you never quite know what he's thinking. He doesn't look that athletic. He doesn't move near to as well as some of the fast movers in the sport, like an Andre Agassi or Michael Sanger and Peter Pete Sampras. But when he gets there, there is so much firepower on that forehand side that he is very dangerous. The first serve percentage is there, Fred.
Yeah. Sampras slipped down a little bit. He was at 75% at one stage, but and some winners there. The winners, unforced errors, have stepped in with Sampras.
And 20 from 12 for Larsson. That's good. That's good numbers. He had that one designed properly. He just did not make the volley.
Sampras can't find it today. You see him shaking his head there. These balls are just flying. He's checking the restrings. He gets his racket strung every day, depending on the temperature, what he possibly needs in the heat. The ball, he doesn't have the control on either the forehand or the backhand, or on the serve for that matter.
Full of reflex there.
30-15.
Sampras makes the move into the net. Takes the stutter step. There's the first volley. Larsson handles this one, goes back in behind him. Reflex action there on the drop volley.
Just not as safe a shot up there. That's not a Sampras trademark, that. Now, Larsson can get away with it, and Agassi could figure it out, but Paul Annacone is writing it down, saying, don't try that again, Pete. Annacone's his coach. So Larsson holds on, and he leads 1 game to love in the second. First set to Larsson in the tiebreak. This is one of the most famous trademarks, isn't it? The RCA dog, Nipper and Chipper.
Time.
Nothing.
Game Sampras. 1 game all.
Thank you, Dave. It's 1 game all here in the second set. First set to Magnus Larsson of Sweden. A surprise. Larsson to serve. Sampras held on to his serve game easily here. Early stages, second set. We're live in Indianapolis. Fred Soller here. Cliff Drysdale alongside.
David Wheaton with a surprise up in the pilot pen over Mark Philippoussis. Are we up for a bigger surprise here?
Are you putting me on the spot?
Yep, trying to.
I don't know. It depends on how much Pete Sampras wins it. Do you want to know honestly?
How much he wants to win it?
Yeah. How much he wants it. I think Sampras is going to win it. 15 all. I would, however, not go down to the local bookie and put a lot of shekels. With a drop volley, that's a predetermined play, I think.
Yeah, it's a predetermined play, and also the chip down the line. Every time he's gone down there, this shot has been played. I'm surprised he hasn't picked that one a little bit better. Larsson's made that two-fisted down the line, I would say 8 times out of 10. Larsson's certainly got more control over the tennis ball today than Sampras has, particularly on that forehand side.
Clearly, Larsson has got his serve going well. Now, he started out very shakily, but since then, he has had 12 aces, and he leads 2 games to 1 and 1 set to none. 2 games to 1 lost in the second set. First set to him, 7-6. He hasn't broken Sampras' serve yet, but he's up 179 to 5 in serve games since the beginning of Wimbledon. It's a remarkable statistic.
It's incredible, isn't it? No service breaks in the first set. It was a tiebreaker, but we talked about the desire of Pete Sampras to win. He certainly wants to win, but talking to him today, he said mentally it's very difficult. Maybe if he loses here, I'm not going to say that he is going to lose here. He's still in this match, but they've got to pace themselves.
You think there's a case for saying that he doesn't mind losing because of preparation for the Open?
I do.
My own feeling is that if I was his coach, I'd say, let's go for this tournament, let's win it, because
Hold on to that ball between first
and secondly, if you don't play the matches, we're going to work out for 2 hours a day anyway.
Well, of course he is, but also he's having problems with the tennis balls today. They're flying. His average on first serve clip is only 109 miles an hour, Sampras, today. And his opponent's average is 119 miles an hour. Now, I would think on a warm day today, that the ball flies through the air a little quicker. Sampras is scratching his head there. He's lost control of the tennis ball. He's not anywhere near hitting the ball with the control that he had last week. This volley makes that one, it's about a half a step. That one gets a little bit low, and that one goes wide. So an opportunity here again for Larsson at love 30.
Big chance. And how many forehands has he missed when he's had big chances? On the return there like that one. That was close. That would have given him love 40 in a certain stage in the first set. He would have had love 40 for 3 set points, rather.
Well, when you talk about percentages, that's a good play to go for at love 30. You can have a crack at that shot. The worst thing is can be 15-30.
30 all.
This crowd has been very, very quiet. There was not too many folks expected Larsson to come through and win the opening set. Not serving like 11 aces to Sampras' 3.
Is a lethal weapon. You should register that thing every time he goes into the city.
He was all over the place in this one, helped by a net cord to start it off with. He hits this one off the frame, and the tall man from Sweden steps around. Plenty of time to make that forehand. You can see Sampras there, hand to the head, saying, what is going on here?
Break point. That is just why. Still has not broken Sampras to serve. On an outside court, Jiri Novak won the first set against Thomas Enquist, another Swede. Enquist won the second set. They one game all in the third.
Service percentages slipping down somewhat now. Sampras, way through the first set, was 75%. That's the first time, the first rally that has gone through here where Sampras has been able to hit out on the forehand and keep the ball in play. First serve points one when he gets the first serve in, 82% of the time.
Sampras holds on. Here's an interesting one for you. 12 of the first 15 chances he committed won. Since then, he's only at about 50%. We'll continue our coverage of the RCA Championships tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Time here on ESPN. And we've got some interesting matchups. The winner of this match takes on Wayne Pereira. Carlos Moya, he is through to the next round. Tommy Ho, a winner today. Agassi and Correcha will play tonight there in Indianapolis.
Good second serve on that one. Sampras again drops the racket. Can't believe it. That one skipped off the line. That was a 98 mile an hour second serve. Sampras looks to me today the way he looked against Bernd Carbacher here in the semi-finals, I think it was, quarters of the semi, like 2 years ago, when Carbacher beat him to get to the finals.
30-15.
That's his sixth.
Sampras is the holder. He won this tournament last year over Goran Ivanisevic.
Ivanisevic out first round. Australia's Jason Stoltenberg. Second round because he had a bye in the first round.
Has got a break point against Larsson. That match against Carbacher was 2 years ago, and it was a semi-final loss.
A little chip there, and Sampras again closes in. This is the first break point of the set for Sampras. Sampras had one against him. There's only been 2 break points in the match. Sampras survived a break point in his last service game.
Double fault from Larsson, and Sampras does get the break. It is 3-2. Sampras ahead now in the second, but he's struggling. And it's a very nice stadium. It was built some years before, for example, the Lipton Stadium. That's about the newest one, or the New Haven Stadium, or the one out at the Newsbury Champions Cup in Indian Wells. But it really has performed well and outlasted a lot of others. It's a beautiful place to watch. There's not a bad seat in the house. There's some shade from the one side, and they have enjoyed this, and there have been record crowds this year in Indianapolis. The weather is not as oppressive as it can be at this time of the year here, which makes afternoon watching in the sun very tough. But Pete Sampras is ahead now with the break in the second set after losing the first in a tiebreak. A little more energy in that 125 mile an hour ace. That's his fifth.
There's a mentioned his average has been 109.
30 love.
Thirty 15. Unforced errors for Sampras, and Larsson has fewer. Oh! 21 winners for Sampras, balanced those, and Larsson on the other hand has 23 winners. Game point Sampras.
Another opportunity on the forehand. He doesn't try and hit this one. He tries to throw it deep with a lot of topspin. As they wake up. Ace from Sampras now there, and he consolidates that break.
Sampras leads 4 games to 2.
4 games to 2. It is heating up, 84 degrees. It can be, as I've said a few times, a lot hotter than that. 58% humidity. Slight breeze only.
Seems a lot warmer than that, though. It got up to, what, 96 last week in Cincinnati?
We're sitting behind this perspex, and the wind, whatever there is, doesn't get here.
15 love.
15 love. Larsson down 2-4.
to 6 in the ace department.
Nice forehand. I tell you, that is such an important part of Larsson's game. I mean, he has so much control over it. You see, he comes through the upper body, actually. Watch the upper body. It turns even before, watch this, the upper body goes in and then he hits. I mean, it's like a whip action. It's beautiful. And he has so much control and so much confidence in that shot. He runs around the backhand every chance he can get. That is dangerous to approach the forehand side. Buy a program for today's tennis, folks. If I've heard it once, I've heard it a dozen times. The fiery Fred Stolle, proud Australian, talking about how many Australians there are left in this field. And fortunately, Fred, a couple of them have bitten the dust, including today Jonas Bjorkman, who took out Todd Woodbridge, a semi-finalist at Wimbledon this year.
Jason Stoltenberg lost today. Richard Kronberg. Thursday's never been a good day for Australia.
Is that what it is? Needless to say, we will be still in the doubles, and we will all probably be here on Sunday. Those guys are just unbelievable to watch play. I think one of the true pleasures of tennis and tennis tournaments is watching Woodford and Woodbridge weave their magic wands. Unbelievable.
Well, what a volley on that occasion.
It's the doubles equivalent of watching Pete Sampras, who is a master of his trade, the best in the world.
This return gets down to the forehand side. This time Sampras is over there looking. He's a good 4 feet behind the service line, but he creates the angle. That one nearly got behind him.
30 love Sampras.
Beautiful. He's a funny guy. He is, isn't he? He is. Magnus Larsson is a very free spirit, as he shows here, Helen. He is incredible. He does a 360, and this one gets to the first one. Long legs, about 4 steps. What's this one? He runs around the other side of the ball to try and get it back. Does so, but then he's got to come back in the middle of the
Game,
court.
Sampras. Sampras
And
leads
Sampras
5
holds on,
games
so he's got 5-3 now in the second. That is 7 aces for Sampras. He's won it a couple of times, and he has a 21-2 record. Take a look at that. Semi-finalist in 95, quarter-finalist in 93. He is the holder.
Larsson, like anybody else that's got that huge forehand, he gets that first serve in, gets a look at a half-court ball, doesn't come back.
Bad news for Larsson, even if he wins this game, is that Sampras' first serve percentages have gone way up.
He's picking that one a little bit more now. That's about 4 or 5 games ago. Most of the passing shots from Larsson, when the ball is around half court, he hasn't directed them cross court. There it is, half court again, down the line once more, but Sampras pounces on that and gets good depth and angle on that volley into the corner.
Those are the first and second serve percentages. Overall, Sampras at 70%. A very good number. Lane. Step points for Sampras now.
15-40.
Well, he's getting a little more feel now. Rolls this backhand back across in front of the Swede, looking for the one down the line. Whoa. That was a good return from Sampras. A good move to sneak in there on set point and make Larsson go for the shot. He didn't waste any time doing that, Larsson. A brilliant two-hand across court.
Still set point.
Saved a couple of set points.
Advantage Larsson.
3 in a row for Larsson and game point for him.
Good serve this one again. Sampras couldn't pick it. He's a little off balance. Just hit the race.
And Larsson holds on. A lot of trouble. He saves a couple of set points against him, but now he faces Sampras to serve for the set. 5 games to 4. Sampras with a break in the second set. He will serve to level the match now at 1 set all.
Difference in this second set has been in the serving department. But the first set, Sampras served 3 aces and 1 double fault. In this second set, he's served 4 aces and no double faults. But look at Larsson. Larsson had 11 aces in the opening set, 5 double faults, and it's only 3 aces in this second set. And that's been balanced by 3 double faults.
So Sampras has really
picked it up a bit on the serve, yeah. And Larsson's lost it.
Serve volley play, 15 love.
15 love.
Bit of a breeze starting to come up now also. Sun gone behind the clouds. Sampras looks up to check it. So that also will help the number 1 man. Even though he missed that, I like it. 30 love, it was an attempt to play an approach to get in, to put pressure on to get to 40 love.
Now set point. He has failed on a couple, but they were on Larsson's serve. Now he has 2 on his own. Beautiful play from Sampras. The guy is a genius and he is great to watch. Pete Sampras wins the second set 6-4. Larsson won the first. They are even. This is a battle of heavyweights, and tonight on ABC you can watch another battle of heavyweights. The fight that was heard around the world. Holyfield Tyson 2, ABC at 10 Eastern Time.
15 love.
First game, third set, 15 love. Winner of this match to play Wayne Ferreira of South Africa took out Grant Stafford, his countryman.
$30.
Also in their half is the drawer, Carlos Moya, who took out Richard Fromberg earlier today, and then Thomas Enquist and Yuri Novak. Novak's got a break in the third. Game point, Larsson.
Close one?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I agree with that call. Watch this. And then he looks over there and he says, thanks for the call. Gives him a little thumbs up.
Game Larsson.
Magnus Larsson wins the first game of the third. It's Sampras to serve. Things are heating up here in Indianapolis, aren't they? This is for a place in the last 8 of the RCA. Dave, thanks a lot and appreciate it. Tom as well. Nice to hear from you. We are at 1 game to love. Larsson here in the third set. Sampras won the second set. That evened this match. It's for a place in the quarterfinals. And we may reiterate that Patrick Rother, after that win, will take on Andrei Medvedev tonight in our ESPN2 coverage at 9:30 Eastern Time. 15 all. good.
Let it go. Sampras could have hit it.
15-30.
It was a little bit of a floater, caught behind. This one, a little bit of a miss hit there. Look how it just floats in the air. Sampras could have covered it and said, no, it's going wide. It dropped just inside the line.
Go! 30 all.
Oh, nice return, and here's a break point for Larsson.
30-40.
That forehand that has not worked for him. Watch this again.
He's had a crack at a few of these, though, when he's had the opportunity, like at love 30. He's missed them at love 30. He makes that one at 30 all to set up the break point for him.
Deuce.
Just saves a break point.
Deuce. Very solid. You like that volley, Fred?
Beautiful volley, yeah. Well executed, got in there, got the angle, got inside the service box here.
Got it way out front, too. This is perfectly executed, actually. Moving in, didn't stop. Watch.
Charge that ball when it's up shoulder height. He goes forward and then finishes.
13 volley winners for Sampras. Larsson has hardly come in. He has one.
Pretty tough to read that forehand. Larsson quite content to play a couple of slice backhands there until he set up his big shot, the forehand. Smart strategy.
I asked Larsson earlier today if he's going to go with any other attention-grabbing things like his white hair, Fred, and he said he doesn't have anything in the immediate future planned. He said, I just did it on a whim.
Going through here, play court backhand there. Didn't work. Too much pace on the volley for that one.
Game point.
Sampras struggling on serve here. Has survived one break point.
So he holds on and it's
One game over.
Pete Sampras has got 186 weeks at number one. Ivan Lendl holds that record, and this is just in the era from the time that the computer came to be effective. 268 for Connors, 2 weeks only behind him. And then you see McEnroe and Borg. Borg at 109 weeks. I would not be surprised, and I would bet that Sampras will I think he's going to overtake both of those, be the all-time.
Well, again, Sampras starting to pick that one now. Larsson will have to be aware of that and try and change that to go cross-court. Sampras just chipping that one down and sitting on that back end down the line then.
15 all.
15 all. Yuri Novak is through. He beat Thomas Enquist, the number 4 seed, so he plays Carlos Moya now. My money's on Moya in that match, and the way, Sampras is in this section of the draw. I think Moya's a semi-finalist.
15-30.
Yes, that one with the ball toss, it goes way over the left shoulder. You can see him sort of talking to himself about the ball toss.
He started moving in before he hit the ball. 15-30.
30 all.
Moya looked very good to me in the first match today, Fred. He was very solid. That moves well. Watched a lot of him in the Australian.
You've been giving him a bit of stick lately.
I have.
Because he just did well at the Australian, but he's reached 4 or 5 quarterfinals over in Europe. He hasn't won anything, but he's been in the quarterfinals.
Well, I wondered, when I saw him in Australia, I thought he was going to win a lot more, is the only point I was trying to make.
17 aces now, Larsson.
Same point.
Game Larsson.
And they'll change into 2 games to 1. Larsson is looking strong, and Sampras, how motivated is he? Stay tuned. Larsson leading 2 games to 1. Sampras to serve. We are at the RCA Championships, and we're live. Here is how the top half of the draw looks. It's interesting, isn't it? Wayne Ferreira over his countryman Stafford, and then Yuri Novak goes on number 4 seed Enquist. That's a surprise. But Moya looked very good against Kronberg, and I like Moya's chances against Novak. Here's a look at the bottom half, Fred.
Rios and Woodford, another Australian there. They'll play Agassi Krecha. That's a good one for tonight. They'll pack them in here tonight. Bjorkman's through as he takes on Tommy Ho.
Tommy Ho, a surprise qualifier actually here, so young American doing well.
15 left.
8 aces for Sampras. The wind is helping him now.
It's also picking up a little, isn't it?
30 loves Sampras. The sun is behind clouds for the moment. That's a good thing because it is still in a bad position for the server at this time of day.
This return hits the tape, sets up Sampras for the backhand. Easy put away, helped him there.
I really feel that Sampras is getting more confidence in that backhand passing shot too, Troskov especially. So on the next point, he lets one sail.
Well, he's still shaking his head there because he's not been able to get the control that he desires today. There, he's checking the balls, just bouncing around there. Paid the price there because he just rolled that one over at 81 miles an hour to the 2-fisted backhand and charged in. Just a bit of a kick serve, and he never made the service line when the return went past him.
30 all.
40.
Now, if they don't like the balls, they better get used to them pretty quickly because that's the same ball that they're using here as they will at the Open.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Wilson US Open ball.
Sun has just come out again. See him bouncing that ball again. The Sun has come out. He checked that. Ball toss.
That one is a well-played shot. The ATP Tour ball is the one that is most widely used on the tour, but before the US Open, they make sure to give the boys the opportunity to play with the same ball, and as they're looking at them and talking about how the ball seems to fly during the day compared to the night matches, as I said, get used to it. Deuce. Giving some consideration to that sky leap.
Slam dunk overhead.
Watch this.
He can't reach this one though. He wants to hit it, but there you go. No. Just a little practice.
Thought about it and then realized it was going to go long.
Game Sampras. 2 games on.
Pete Sampras has been so successful, hasn't he? Take a look at that. 10 titles, 4 at the Open. He hasn't won the French Championships, but he's won 4 Wimbledons and 2 Australians, including this year. He's got 2 this year, Wimbledon and the Australian. Beat Carlos Moya at the Australian Open final. An unlikely finalist. And then the same thing at Wimbledon.
My name is Moya.
Tremendous slam champion.
Oh, a little bit of help from the net. one of the few occasions that Larsson has ventured into that area of the court.
We would explain why we were trying to talk like Wallace Moy. We did a few pieces with him in Australia and had him say that for our viewers' pleasure.
Left.
It's sort of cute. You could say, I am Wallace Moy, champion. And he nearly was, except Pete destroyed him in the final. But to be honest with you, we did that piece when he was like in the quarters. Larsson is very, very much in this match. He has not broken Sampras' serve yet. About the same number of unforced errors as you saw. Larsson has more winners than Sampras. If you look at the statistics, you'd say that it would be pretty dead even, and that's exactly how it is. Game to Larsson. Players will change hands. 3 games to 2.
Larsson leads 3 games to 2.
Leads. We're live in Indianapolis, everyone. Glad you chose to spend these moments with us. Fred Stolley alongside Cliff Drysdale here. Pete Sampras of the USA, who won Wimbledon, who won the Australian, and who last week won one of the Mercedes Super 9 events in Cincinnati, the ATP Championships, is trying to win another one. That would be 3 in a row. He did that earlier this year. But he's up against Magnus Larsson, who is one of the most confusing players to play against. Larsson with a big forehand. Once he gets it on that side, you are in a lot of trouble. And he has served well as well. On serve. 3-2 to Larsson. 3rd set.
One hour and 38 minutes. This match has been in progress.
That's why Magnus Larsson, as I mentioned, won the Grand Slam Cup over Pete Sampras. That made him $1.5 million that week, which at the time, at the end of '94, doubled his prize money earnings. Watch the replay. That looked good, didn't it?
Yeah, it's called wide. I think it was an overrule by Steve Ulrich, the man in the chair, although then the lines coach put his arm out. There's the one.
Really, Sampras is very athletic.
40 left.
And this is his one concession, really, to... Watch this here.
Yeah, don't give him full marks on that. Only a short jump, that one. That wasn't his best. But he's been looking to do one of those all afternoon.
That's his one concession to flamboyance. Otherwise, he just gets on with it. Sampras holds on, and then people will say to him, Pete, I mean, you talk about dull and all that. It drives me crazy because this is one of the great talents in tennis, and if he's dull, then you should be watching another sport. He is the most dynamic player from a stroke production standpoint in tennis. Nobody even comes close.
It's the end where Larsson has had some problems. We served most of his double faults. Whether the sun is still a factor, I think it is. He doesn't like that call, Larsson.
Well, he's got a couple
I'm
of
not sure from here. I got to go with her.
Steve Ulrich says I have to go with the line judge.
Well, our Super Slammer showed clearly that Larsson got a bad call in that last game on the passing. And he feels that, I don't know about whether that was a bad one or not, but he feels like it was. Love 15.
That was a very sloppy forehand. Did not move his feet. The big first serve, and he never really did anything when Sampras just floated it back. They're in trouble, as I mentioned. This is the end where he's had service difficulties.
Well, it's understandable because of this position of the sun at this time of day. But I was making the point earlier that when he won that Grand Slam Cup over Sampras, they were talking about it. He had just helped Sweden beat Russia in the Davis Cup final, and he said that was far more important to him.
Well, the Swedes care about Davis Cup competition. They always feel their best team.
Oh, there was his quote. It's something that you dream about all your life. Davis Cup. ESPN will be at the Davis Cup semi-final this year, by the way, USA and Australia, Washington, D.C., 2 weekends after the U.S. Open. $30 all.
Well, that was a good point from both players, actually, until the last backhand from Sampras. A lot of manoeuvring around the court to try and set up their favourite shot. Either player got what he wanted. And it's game point now.
Sampras is talking to somebody on the side, either the lines judge there or a photographer. All cameras from the side of the court pointed in Sampras' direction. Look at them. All of them. Larsson holds on, and Sampras a little ornery mood at this moment. 4-3, Larsson leads. Sampras to serve. Third set of the RCA.
Sampras facing a struggle here as he's down 4-3. He's committed 27 unforced errors, 6 on the forehand, 14 on the backhand, 6 on the volley, and 1 double fault.
Trouble Sampras, love 15, down 3-4 in the third. This, with him serving into the sun, is a crucial game.
On the first one, he had to put a lot of topspin on that one because he's lost control of that forehand. This one here hits with that a lot of topspin, and it's not enough to worry Larsson, who has 2 cracks at passing shot, and the big forehand does the damage.
This is a big point, folks. 15-30, 3-4, third set. Sampras had to play a couple of good volleys there.
One he poked back there, and then Larsson played the defensive shot at the last stage. I would have thought at 15-30 that one was worth a crack to see if he could hit the winner and get a couple of break points. But good movement from Sampras.
I thought I heard a fault call, but apparently he's going to serve too. Out of reach of the big forehand, and it is game point for Sampras.
40-30.
From Pete Sampras, and been down on his serve a few times, but he's able to
4 games on.
hang on. He hasn't lost his serve yet. Tonight at 9:30, our continuing coverage of the Pilot 10 International. That's at 9:30 p.m. and it is going to be an interesting match on the way. Andre Medvedev and Patrick Rafter. Don't miss that one. 9:30 on the Deuce.
That's where a lot of those unforced errors on the backhand have come. Have just been on the return of serve. He's tried to block it back and it's floated. Much pace on that forehand. As quick as Sampras is, scampering across to get to that one. Ball was behind him when he tried to hit it.
Larsson's average speed on his serve at 118. That's an extraordinary number. Average 40 game points for Larsson. His fastest was over 130 miles an hour. Game points.
Gets down well to that low backhand, that one-hander. He just bends those knees. It's an unusual type of slice for a single-handed backhand, but it works for him.
That is good. Very nicely played. A little ginger movement there, I thought, from Pete Sampras. I wonder if his feet are hurting him. He's down 5 games to 4. He will serve in the third 5 games for a place in the last 8 of the RCA. If you're expecting to see the Bud Light Beach volleyball, it'll follow this match, and we are live here in Indianapolis. You're watching the world's top player, Pete Sampras, and Magnus Larsson of Sweden. Sampras going down in the first tie break, and then he got the only break of the match so far against Larsson in the second to win it. And now he is down 4-5 and serving in the final set.
Thank you.
Played that better. It's a wonderful shot there from the Swede with the slice bump.
15 left.
Just crept over the net, but Sampras was there, and a little bit of deja vu. Watch.
Yeah, this is an excellent shot. This one down below the net. A good stretch there from Sampras, but well played. Sampras been there 65 times and Larsson 11.
He is not very demonstrative, but he likes that one. That thing got up in the air, stood there, thought about it, dropped back in the net, and decided to do the thing by the top rail to work.
Hits it, pulls it cross court, and it bounces way as clever. It's out of our camera range, then it comes back, hits the top, falls over.
30 love.
second double fault. Last week in the final in Cincinnati, he did not serve one double fault. Today he served two.
It's easy to play that way, isn't it? He doesn't have to struggle on the serve. Which is why he's going to enjoy much more longevity than a guy like Andre Agassi, who is having problems just getting motivated. When he wins, he himself, Agassi, says that I have to work so much harder than a guy like Sampras. And he's dead right about that. Courier as well has got to work hard. When you get so many free points on your serve, it's easier. You take as much out of you. Game point. Wide, still game point, 40-30. Goes to Sampras. Larsson doesn't like the call, checking with the people behind him to confirm it. I'm not sure what they said about it. Anyway, the score has been called, and that'll do it. Watch this, Fred.
Good anticipation, and the long arm goes out. It's called wide.
Yeah, that was wide.
Get the good stretch there, but he's so tall and so gangly. He's 3 steps out there. He thought he'd made it.
Thank you.
5 games all, third set. Wide, love 15, 15 love. Crowd getting into this now.
Yep, they want Sampras. They want to see him here down here. Well, he's missed that shot once. He's missed it 15 times today.
30 love.
40 love.
This is where Larsson starts to think, hey, maybe I can win this match. Then it's added pressure.
Game Larsson. New ball.
Larsson holds on. The players will change in. They'll take a break. We'll join
Larsson
them.
leads
Come
6
back.
games
You're
to
going to
5.
watch what could be the last segment of this match. They carted sand to the park in Manhattan. It is the Bud Light Men's Pro Beach Volleyball coming up on ESPN as soon as the tennis match is over. Central Park, New York, side of this Bud Light Men's Pro Beach Volleyball. Meanwhile, Pete Sampras here, struggling down in the third set, but on serve 5-6. He is serving here for a tiebreak to decide the match. $15 love. First set went to a tiebreak, won by Larsson.
15 love.
Sampras serving with new balls, and they're whipping through a little quicker. Sampras wants a new ball. He doesn't want one that he's hit.
replay. That high backhand volley is surely one of the toughest shots in tennis, and Sampras made that one look easy. I'm not sure it wasn't going long, actually.
40
He left it, but he wasn't taking any chances.
Played a couple of good backhand volleys here prior to this high backhand, and he's pretty happy with that one. It's only his third of the match.
So Sampras did lose this match without losing his serve. As we've been pointing out to you, he's only lost 5 serve games.
6 games off.
He lost his serve only twice in that tournament, and now he's 3 since then. He won Cincinnati. This is replacing the lost 8th here in Indianapolis. Now the first point, Larsson to serve. First to 7 with a 2-point lead, wins the set and the match.
Thank you.
And will take on Wayne Ferreira for a place in the semifinal.
Again, Larsson learned his lesson because Sampras had been picking that one off down the line. This time he goes cross court. 2 hours this match has been in progress.
Boy, that's well played. The two-hander. Not happy with that ball on the sideline, but goes against him, and it is 0-2 in the tiebreak.
Steve Ulrich in the chair is not going to overrule this one. It's very close. Looks as though it might have hit right on the paint.
Now 3-zip.
3-0 Larsson.
And that's 2 break points in this tiebreak. 2 points against the serve, I should say. Right, 4-0 to
Larsson.
Sampras is in terrible trouble.
Left. Larsson.
Last year, Sampras won this tournament. Now he's 2 points away from being exited out of it.
That second serve of Larsson has been very deep all day, 83 miles an hour. Sampras hasn't really been able to get in behind it successfully.
Magnus Larsson is going to win this match unless a miracle happens. 6 points to none in the tiebreak, and these are all match points to go back to us. Well, how did this happen?
Got the kick ball and started chip inside, so the double fault, and it's not like Sampras at all.
Magnus Larsson has played one for Royal 3 times and beaten
Larsson.
3 times.
Ball down.
And that's who will play in the next round if he wins any one of these next handful of points. Still match point this time on his serve. Sampras says 2.
6-2, Larsson.
Good return from Sampras there, very deep off of first serve.
Got 3 and counting.
6-3, Larsson. Thank you.
Can Sampras come back? Second serve, match point. That sails. That's 4 in a row.
Nice, spinning balls
6-4,
everywhere.
Larsson.
He got so nervous.
He did. It's 5 in a row for Sampras. 6-5. Larsson to serve. Still
6-5, Larsson.
Do you believe in miracles?
Well, you got to if you put Sampras' coach, Paul Anacone, over there. I think everybody's written this one off, and he's back in it with a chance now.
The serve is crucial.
Larsson.
Try number 6. Larsson converts.
7-6.
And Sampras, the number 1 seed, is out. The number 1 seed has won here only once since 91. That was Sampras last year. What do you think, Fred?
Quite an incredible performance. Pete Sampras, I don't think, struck the ball anywhere near as well as he would have liked to today. I think the fact that the weather, the tennis balls is a problem, but hey, give something to Magnus Larsson. He played a great match here today. He served well, a lot more aces.
Our tennis coverage continues tonight on ESPN2 at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time at the Pilot Pen International from New Haven, Connecticut. Rafter takes on Medvedev. Tomorrow on ESPN, our Saturday of Love continues. Quarterfinal tennis action beginning at 1 Eastern with the Pilot Pen International. Then back here to Indianapolis for the RCA Championship. Now stay tuned for ESPN's Bud Light Men's Pro Beach Volleyball. For Fred Story, I'm Cliff Drysdale. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. Pete Sampras, the top player in the world, is out. You're watching ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Bye-bye.